Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back to Connect Scholar. Today we're going to discuss the sampling techniques in research. Before starting the topic, I request you all to please subscribe to Connect Scholar and share our channel with your research enthusiast friends. Let's get started with our today's topic. First of all, let's understand what is target population. Target population is the larger group from which the sample is taken. It includes all the individuals about whom we want to draw conclusions. Let's understand what is sample. A sample is a small part of a large group taken to represent the whole group. It shows the quality, style, or nature of the entire population. For example, studying 100 students out of a university of 10,000 students. Let's understand what are the advantages of sampling. So, compared to studying the entire population, studying only a smaller sample will be less expensive, it would require fewer people to collect the data from, and it also saves time. Now let's understand what is the sampling frame. Sampling frame is a list of all subjects from which the sample will be chosen, which means out of your target population, you would select a smaller group which would be called your sampling frame, and out of your sampling frame, you would choose another smaller group which will be known as your sample that you're going to perform your study on. Let's learn the two types of sampling techniques. First is probability sampling and the second one is non-probability sampling. Both of these sampling techniques have further subtypes which we are going to cover in today's video. Let's understand the types of probability sampling. The first one is simple random sampling. The second one is systematic sampling. And the third one is stratified sampling. In the simple random sampling, every person in the population has an equal chance of being selected. The method of this kind of sampling is that we have to pick a random number. That number can be out of your mind, or you can get it generated from a computer or artificial intelligence in today's world. You can also roll a dice or flip a coin to decide a number. For example, you have been asked to pick 10 students randomly from a class list of 30 students. Let's suppose all the students have 1 to 30 roll numbers. A random number was generated by a computer which was number 27. So now the student with roll number 27 will be part of your study. This way, you have to keep repeating the process until you select 10 students randomly from this class of 30 students. Next is systematic sampling. In this type of sampling method, you start selecting the first person randomly and then you follow same intervals between the individuals. Let's suppose you have to pick 10 individuals visiting a hospital and the total number of patients visiting the hospital was 50. Now, to perform a systematic sampling technique, you have to divide 50 by 10 and the answer would be 5. And in this case, you have to choose every 5th patient entering the hospital. Since your answer was 5, you have to pick first individual randomly, which means from 1 to 5, you have to randomly pick a number. Let's suppose that number was 3. So patient number 3 would be our first individual entering the sample. And after patient number 3, we have to keep intervals of 5 individuals. That means the patient number 8 would be our next individual entering our sample. You have to keep repeating this process until you reach the total number of your sample. Next is stratified sampling. In this kind of sampling, we divide the population into groups or strata based on a characteristic. Then we take samples from each group. For example, dividing the students into groups of males and females. Once these groups are made, we will be selecting students from both the groups and we would combine them as one sample. Now let's understand the types of non-probability sampling. The first one in this type of sampling technique is quota sampling. The second one is convenience sampling. The third is purposive sampling. And last one is consecutive sampling. In the quota sampling, the population is divided into strata or the groups. And the researcher decides how many participants would be taken from each group. For example, interviewing 40% males and 60% females to match the population ratio. In this example, the characteristic of gender was kept in mind before making the groups. Next is convenience sampling. In this type of sampling, we choose people who are easily available. For example, surveying only friends or people in your class. Next is purposive sampling. In this type of sampling technique, the researcher selects participants based on specific purpose or criteria. For example, interviewing only doctors for a study on medical ethics. Next is consecutive sampling. In this type of sampling method, the researcher is selecting every subject available until the sample size is met. For example, including every patient visiting a clinic for 1 month. Thank you so much for watching this video. Our next video will be on data collection. Please make sure to follow us on all social media platforms. Don't forget to like this video, comment down below, share it with your research enthusiast friends, and please subscribe to Connect Scholar. Thank you so much and Allah Hafiz.